In my humble opinion, the best way to start a meeting or event would be you walk into the meeting and somebody hands you a pair of glasses. And this pair of glasses, what it does is it kind of grays out everybody at the event or the meeting. And it just highlights like the one or two people that are the right people for you to talk to. And then you walk up to those people and a question pops right above their head that is the exact right question to ask the exact right person. That would be the coolest way to start a meeting or event, but those glasses don't exist. So I'd like to think that all of my life's work and effort is the next best thing. It's how do you create the most intentional gatherings to get the right people paired up in the right conversations so that they walk away saying, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I was at that event, meeting, etc. If you choose to watch this video in full, I'm going to share 5 methods and strategies and ideas to start off your meeting or event in a really intentional, meaningful way. And number 1, inspired by Priya Parker's book, The Art of Gathering. Priya talks about that if you invite somebody to use their larynx in the first 5% of a gathering, they are vastly more likely to use it in the rest of the 95% of the gathering. And so in other words, just start it in a way that people need to actually share something with each other. That's idea number 1. Here's a really practical way to make that happen. And it's built off of one of these ideas that one of my mentors, Matt Church, talks about, that state matters more than script. And so there's 2 ways that you can, 2 mindsets that you can be in when you start a gathering. One is in this to-do, action-oriented, what do I want to get out of this meeting? What do we have to get done, etc. What's on my list? And the other state is being in this mindset of to be. And so if you wanted to invite people to use their larynx in the first 5% of a gathering, one of the most intentional things I think you can do is to be able to say, hey, instead of having a priority focus on the to-do list, can I just ask you, if state really matters more than script, what state would you like to be in by the end of today, or by the end of this event, or by the end of this meeting? You give them 10 seconds to think of their actual response, and then you just invite them, turn to 2 people next to you and form a little throuple and just share the state that you'd like to be in at the end of our day. And it turns out when you have somebody verbalize and actually share that state, they're vastly more likely, they're basically setting an intention for the gathering to be that. So if they say, I'd like to be really curious, I'd like to be in a learning mindset, I'd like to be really more actively contributing than I usually am, whatever they share is the intention that will actually shape who they are and into how they behave during that meeting or gathering. And so just by a simple prompt that takes 60 seconds, you're taking the intentionality of that gathering and the chances that something really good happens and cranking it way up. So for the past 10 years, I've been a professional facilitator and speaker. So I've gone to a lot of events, and it turns out most events start with name tags. So you go to whether it's a local meetup, you write your name on a Sharpie. And I got annoyed with this at some point because as somebody who wants the conference glasses, right? The glasses that tell you the exact right person and the exact right conversation to have. I just didn't think knowing that my first name was Chad was like the absolute best entry point into a conversation. And so I said, what if I could put connection before content in a name tag? So check it out. Here's a prompt. You can make these yourself. It's really simply a prompt here, a 1-word answer below, and then your name. You're literally just putting connection before content. And so if you don't want to make them yourself, I packed them into a name tag pack, 150 sticker name tags to create conversations that matter. So you can see, right, if I paired up with somebody, I would have an immediate teleportation into a good conversation because I'd just be like, interesting, tell me about deep listening. And Will would have all sorts of thoughts on that. So using these in an event, as an event, all you did a quick scan and I saw the word Jeep written. And I asked this guy, oh, what's your connection to Jeeps? His face lit up like a light bulb, and he talked so passionately about his Jeeps and his off-roading and things that I didn't understand, but I was super happy to listen to because he was so happy to talk about it. And so if you want to start off a meeting or an event and create connection before content, put connection before content right on to a name tag. This video was sponsored, I'm just kidding. 4th method, start with a question. It's so funny when I look at somebody's agenda for a meeting or gathering, especially the bigger the event gets, the less frequently does the meeting just start off with a question. Imagine if every single meeting just started off with a question that connected to the purpose of why you were there and allowed people to connect to each other in small groups. It would literally change the way that every gathering happens from here on out. Can you imagine if you went to a big conference and instead of listening to 10 minutes of housekeeping and who the sponsors were, the host, MC, organizer got up and just said, hey, I'm so glad you're here. I'm curious. What is one possibility you're really excited about related to the theme or topic of our conference? You know how easy that is? Do you know how few events do that? The next method is so profound, and I want to share it in a sticky, memorable story. So here's a picture of a sign that I saw. No wading in the creek. Let me zoom out on this picture. Oh, God. That's hard to do. Zoom out on this picture. That's me and my 4-year-old and his friend wading in the creek. The sign didn't work. And so if we think about, just as a petri dish, humor me for a minute, you think about that meeting in the creek as the beginning or start to a meeting. You want to invite people, you want to share your intention for what that gathering is. This sign did that, no wading in the creek, but it missed something. Because I would say it shared the objective of that sign was to prevent people from wading in the creek. But the sign would have been way more powerful if it was an intention, and what I call a so that intention, which includes the currency, includes what other people care about. So if this sign said no wading in the creek, this is a chemical dump site, I would probably be much less likely to wade in the creek because that matters to me, right? Just not wading in the creek for the sake of not wading in a creek in a park doesn't matter at all. In fact, I feel a little rebellious about it. Even more is the more personalized an intention gets, the more powerful it is. So what you don't know is if I really zoomed in on this picture, my 4-year-old Otto had broken his arm on the monkey bars a couple weeks before. He had a full arm cast up to his armpits. If the sign said no wading in the creek, because 60 seconds after this photo is taken, your son is gonna fall down, soak his arm cast, and it's gonna cost you $800 at the orthopedics office, I definitely would not have waded in the creek, right? And so the best, most simple way to start a meeting is with a clear intention, add a so that to the end of it, and fill in a currency that somebody cares about. Tiny meeting or large event, in under 30 seconds, if you share an intention that includes a currency that everybody at the meeting actually cares about, what you're doing is you're rooting out all need for manipulation. You don't need to convince or cajole people to engage. You're saying, hey, here's the game I'm playing. Do you want to play it with me? It is the most powerful way to create equitable gatherings where everybody can contribute and not just consume knowledge. These are cool ideas, but I actually did save my best idea for last. And if you click into this, what I believe to be the best team building and icebreaker on the planet, connection before content. I gave you a little mini master's degree in this free video training, which is just, I don't know where you can click it, somewhere around here. And if you dedicate a little bit of time to that, you will put yourself in the top tier of facilitators, leaders who host gatherings. And in about 15 minutes, you will gain a life skill that you'll never be able to lose that will change every single gathering you host as soon as you're done watching that video. I'm Chad Littlefield. Have an awesome day.